Towson, Baltimore, and, you always wonder when Ray Lewis was going to go in, what that night would look like, what that bus trip would look like, what the teammates would look like. We've known for 15 years he was headed that way, back to when this guy played wide receiver with the Baltimore Ravens. He did a couple turns of duty around here, as well as a little time in the CFL at the end. Spent a little time with the Redskins and the Jaguars. But he got a ring on his finger with the Baltimore Ravens. He was one of my favorite dudes to interview, and we've run into each other in all sorts of parts of the world. He lives down in Dallas, Texas now. The pride of Oregon and Redlands, California, same as Brian Billick. We welcome in Patrick Johnson, wide receiver of the world champion 2000 Baltimore Ravens. What's up, Pat? How's life, man?
Good. Really good. No complaints. I'm healthy. I run the SMU football stadium like 4 days a week. So, I think I might still have it a little bit.
If I time you right now in a 40, what do you got for me? You got a 4 point what? Where are you right now? And how old are you, too? Because I still think you're 23.
40. I'll be 40, 42
next week.
In almost a week next week,
yeah.
I think I could give you a good, probably a high 4.4,
Well, that's not bad. I mean, at your age, fine. But you were always the burner, man. You never lose that, right?
Well, the thing about playing football is that, you can be fast, but you have to go out there and be able to run patterns and be fast while doing that, and that's hard.
Well, you were a sprinter. I mean, you were like an Olympic, worthy kind of sprinter. That's straight line, right? Like that's a different skill set than Jerry Rice, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, it is and it isn't. It's just being able to transfer that speed in different directions. And that's hard. But guys are doing it.
We're still looking for them around here 23 years later. We need more wide receivers. Everybody needs them. And, I guess at this point they try to turn a fast guy like you into a quarterback, right? Like literally that there was a big movement to move really fast guys to the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. I mean, but there's no replacing having speed on the outside, But, the thing about separation from a defender, you can get, horizontal separation is where guys are beating each other with speed, but you can also have vertical separation by just having a height advantage over a guy. I mean, if the NFL is based on a lot of mismatches. So if you got a third DB that's 5'9", the nickel defensive back that's 5'9", and the teams play a lot of man-to-man, well, your third receiver, if he's 6'6", it's just
jump
being
ball
able to,
time, right? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But no, definitely the speed is you can't replace it, and they have put a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, we're going to honor one on Saturday, and I know this is near and dear for you, and I know you're out in the world now doing trading and in the stock world down in Dallas and all that, and I've seen stuff linked to you, and people can go out and Google all the stuff you're into. But, going back, you were a football player, and I guess you'll be famous for that, and when people say to you, well, you played a few years in the league, and you had a nice little career, and you got a ring or whatever, but then, oh, wow, you played with Ray Lewis? What? Right? I mean, there's a whole sort of Babe Ruth-y, sort of Paul Bunyan feeling about that, right? That you just didn't play in the league. You played with Ray.
Well, I mean, yes. I was telling a friend of mine that just the other day. Like, I mean, I was so lucky to be able to play with Ray Lewis. Now, let me say this. I was lucky to play with a lot of great football players while I played for the Ravens. I mean, how many Hall of Famers did we have on the roster?
Well, J.O., Sharp, Woodson, just going down the list. And then there were a whole bunch of Sam Adams and Tony Saragusa's and Peter Boulware's, Chris McAllister's that were really, really good football players. Jamal Lewis. I mean, these guys aren't going to the Hall of Fame.
These guys are. We had a lot of high round draft picks. If you look at the year we won the Super Bowl, I think our entire secondary, I think they all got drafted in the first round, and damn near all the linebackers, except Jamie, and he got drafted in the second round. Think about that.
Well, and that's kind of hard to do when you have to be bad for a couple of years. Then you have to not only be bad, but draft really, really well, and then have it all come together at the same time. I mean, you came into this thing in '98 when Ted was still here. Your first game was the first game in the stadium and all that stuff. But I mean, you were drafted into a team that had this special kid on defense and this really special kid playing left tackle, and they were kids at that point. You were a kid at that point. But from where you found it to where you left it, and where Ray left it, it's incredible. I mean, you were out of the league almost a decade, still watching him win Super Bowls. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, and to be able to do it for that long is unbelievable. He had. I mean, you think over the course of the last decade, like you mentioned, think of how the game of football has evolved. I mean, it's hard to, it's hard to evolve. I remember at one point Ray had to lose a whole bunch of weight because of the speed changing on defense.
And the 3-4 and the 4-3. I mean, once Tony Siragusa and Sam Adams went away, they were asking him to do different things that he wasn't real happy about doing at the time. And then 10 years later, it prolonged his career not taking on and shedding the way he did. And they changed things. I mean, Rex Ryan was so multiple in the defenses, but everyone around the league, once he was 7-8 years into the league, he really was a Pied Piper for every player in the game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, no question. You're not going to get. I thought I was Ray Lewis on offense.
Sometimes, but you were Pat Johnson. You found that out.
Yeah. Well, I'm just as far as the mentality. I tried to carry the same mentality, but try to play within that on offense. And I think the way we ran the ball back then, I think. I think it actually helped me. I mean, I was a great blocker, and it's just because just his approach to it and how he led. I think everybody wanted to aspire to lead in that way. In their own way.
And I think for the dance and the dance and everything that went into it, you were there sort of at the beginning and the genesis of that. And again, 15 years later, he's still out dancing. And I don't want to say we didn't appreciate it. I think we did, but we didn't see the end being so abrupt. And his life's been like a storybook. I mean, especially for a guy like you that got away from the game to watch it every Sunday and watch his career unfold the way it did, and then to get the confetti at the end. What would you tell your kids or your grandkids about playing with him that made it special?
He's the best player I've ever played football with. Not just of how physical and how well he played the game, how much he studied the game, but his intangibles. It's like a quarterback. They all have intangibles, right? The linebacker is the quarterback of the defense. Like his ability to interact with players, he made players around him better, and they were already good. You see what I mean?
Well, and that's the next level of how you win 10, 11, 12 games. That's how a Joe Flacco comes in as a rookie, and they go to the playoffs 5 years in a row and finally win a Super Bowl. All of that happened very much at the end of his journey, and when he wasn't the best player in football anymore, but the best players in football wanted to play with him. And I think there was a recruitment quality that happened, when you came back the second time, when Deion's floating around here, and when the Trevor Prices of the world wanted to come here and play. That all changed during your era when Woodson and Siragusa and Sharp and McCrary signed up to play in Baltimore because there was nothing sexy about being here before Ray Lewis, started to become Ray Lewis, and people wanted to come here and say, I want to play with that kid.
Wow. It's amazing the journey. It's been 20 years, right?
It has been 20 years.
It's been 20 years, right? And I mean, think about how big this is. Jonathan Ogden being a first ballot Hall of Famer was huge for the franchise. Now, Ray is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and it's bigger than that. That's how amazing it is.
Well, and I think it's also a party for you guys, and everyone I've talked to from the 35 team is going to go back. This I don't want to say this is the last, and I talked to Goose about this. This isn't the last time you're going to get together, but we all got together when David Modell passed, a year and a half ago, and other than reunions and I guess funerals, there aren't going to be a whole lot more Hall of Fame. Sizzle may have his day down the line, and obviously Ed Reed. But from that championship team the first time around in your class, this is one of the those times where everyone's going to stop and take notice. And I think the real fun part of this dude is he was such an orator and a preacher and a speaker and all of that. I think everybody's looking forward to this speech.
That's what I mean. The intangibles. Those intangibles right there, his ability to relate to a person in the heat of the game. You have to be there you just have to be there. And you've seen him when he speaks. It's you know what I'm saying.
I've been in the middle of that. Yeah, so we've all been in the middle of that.
Yeah, man. Oh, and that's a rarity. It's a rarity.
He's Pat Johnson. He came out of Oregon and flashed some speed around here back at the turn of the century, got himself a ring. He's down in Dallas right now, living the rest of his life. What are you doing with the rest of your life down there? Tell everybody, because people always say, where are they now? And, you've been up to some things in the financial space, and you've found a whole life after football.
Let me tell you what I did. So when I went up to the CFL, I signed with Edmonton and then got traded to Toronto, to the Argonauts. I almost got a Grey Cup, or I almost went to a Grey Cup, but I was up there for almost 2 seasons, and when I got done, I went to go work for a private equity firm that was taking small companies public over the counter here in the U.S., and I handled all the communications. So I handled all the press. I'm a writer. I'm a media guy. So I handled all the communications for all the companies that we were taking public, like handling web content, writing all press, communicating with outside third-party, marketing firms who disseminate your information to shareholders, just globally. So handling all of that. And then 5 years ago, I came home and started doing my own thing. And now I have 4 companies that are publicly traded. The parent company is called iBrands Corporation, like iPhone and brands. We're diversified holdings. We have some oil and gas, construction assets. We're moving into the insurance space. Yada, yada, yada. So very, very fortunate, but I'm happy. I still work out, try to every day. I think I still could play, man.
We all say that.
Well, you know what it is. You know what? I'll tell you something. I knew when I didn't want to do it anymore. And when it's so hard to get yourself in shape to play the game. Most people don't realize that, guys are working out 3-4 hours a day, just so that they can put up with the rigors of going through a season, trying to even stay healthy. I knew when I was done, and it was just like, I don't know, maybe my testosterone level might have just took a dive or something, but I was finished.
Well, it sounds like you're doing okay now, and you get to relive, and you get to show your ring off. And this weekend is one of those weekends where I think everybody gets together and celebrates having been a part of that in any way, whether it's being a media guy, a fan, traveling around, being in those locker rooms before and after games, the relationships with so many of you that have really formed my life over the last 25 years here since the Ravens came to town.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. You're always a nice, complimentary guy. You're always happy, man, and that's good, man.
Pat, I appreciate appreciate you, man. I appreciate the visit. Tell everybody where they can find you if they want to link it. You're on LinkedIn. You're out there. I think we're Facebook friends as well. But I know you're out in the space down there in Dallas doing your thing, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. You know, my goal is to one day buy an NFL team, you know. That's the ultimate goal.
When that happens, let me know, man. I'll come and work PR or something for you. All right.
Who if I could buy a team right now, which one would you? If you could buy a team right now, which one would you buy?
I'd buy the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, why would I not want the Ravens?
You know, Bisciotti ain't selling the Ravens.
At some point, Bisciotti will sell the Ravens. I mean, nothing's forever, Pat. You know that. Come on now. I mean, we might even get a new baseball owner here before it's all over.
Really?
Pat, take care of yourself, my brother. And I hope I see you out in Canton, and I hope we get to take a picture together and say hello for old time's sake and share a refreshment. I'm glad you're doing well. It's great to keep up with you out on social media, and always nice to visit with any of the old guys. Getting everybody on to talk about Ray Lewis has been very easy to do. Everybody likes talking about their time with Ray, don't they?
Oh, man. Unbelievable. I can't wait to see him, man.
You got it, man.
I can't wait to see all the guys. See you later, man.
I'll see you on Saturday in Canton, Ohio. Patrick Johnson, at one point number 85, but I also have some pictures running around number 11 as well. Baltimore Ravens, 1998, 99, 2000, and 2001, won the Super Bowl with us, and I have a really fun picture of him catching a ball on the sidelines in Tennessee. He caught a really big pass down there, and I'm wearing my camouflage purple pants. And one of the Ravens photographers sent me that picture a couple of years ago, and I had some fun with it. Pat and I are tagged on it out on Facebook having some fun. You can find me out in the buy, a Toyota.com audio of all 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. Our morning newspaper delivers digitally to your email inbox at 7 a.m. each and every morning. It's all brought to you by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. We do have a little bit of space left on the Ray Lewis trip. If you want to join us this weekend, toss me a note. Find it out under the Road Trips tab. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST. Taos to Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.